This little guy is the new SenseCAP AI Watcher from Seed Studio, and it's one of the first cases of physical, spatial, IRL AI agents. And today we're going to find out exactly what this little guy can do. Now, I got my hands on this physical AI agent because I want to see for myself how close we really are to AI replacing knowledge workers.
It's a nice day out. You should go to the pool.
AI is all the rage right now, but how much of that is substance and how much of that is just VC fluff? Well, let's take a look at the data. So Y Combinator, basically the most prestigious tech seed venture firm in the world, has been going all in on agentic AI. And if we take a look at their latest batch, the 2025 Winter Group, and if we look for the word agent, we see all kinds of companies looking to exploit this tech. AI agents for accounting firms, open source web agents, vertical AI agents for sales operations, browser agents for repetitive business processes, making APIs just work for AI agents, AI sales agent for tech consulting firms, and on and on. So if we want a lead measure of what the future holds, we can just look at what these seed and early stage companies are actually doing. Sure, there's a little bit of Web3 and crypto in there, but it looks like agents might become a new fact of life. Now, other companies have had a play at this. We remember the Rabbit R1, which apparently is still a going concern, although they have kind of pivoted in some areas. But we also remember the Humane AI pin, which had a go at this sort of interactive AI tech. And it was announced recently that it's been shut down and essentially sold for parts to HP for a little over $100 million, which is a far cry of the peak valuation that they once commanded. But Seed Studio is different. They usually don't take big VC money. In fact, they like to do grassroots approach. And this was actually funded by you. This was a Kickstarter campaign, which made it to prime time and eventually became available on their website. And what I like about Seed Studio is they make use of open source. So this little guy can be used with Ollama. And as we know, Ollama has most of the open source models like versions of DeepSeek, Gemini, and Azure's models. So this little guy has a lot of potential. In fact, I just put it into human detection mode and it is doing edge AI detection using an onboard camera in a pretty sophisticated way. Now, Seed Studio claims that this can both see, hear, comprehend, and react. So much for our spatial privacy because we now have AI agents in physical spaces. The world's first physical AI agent for smarter spaces. But what can you actually do with this in the real world, and does it truly have a commercial use? Okay, so this is the page for the SenseCAP Watcher. You can see it goes for just $99 USD, which isn't too bad given what you're getting. So this is a brief overview of the hardware here. You have an RGB light, you have a 1.45 inch 412 by 412 circular display, which is quite sharp. You have a 400 milliampere battery, an SD card slot, connectors for Grove sensors, USB-C connector. The main MCU appears to be an ESP32S3, which is old faithful. And for mounting, it has an arm along with sticky tape, so it can be mounted to something like a wall or a tripod. And it says it can do things like people detection, custom animations, exercises, gesture detections, cat detection, people and smoking, smart doorman, and animal detection. Okay, so let's open this guy up. Looks like we're going to have to do some initial configuration. So let's turn this guy on, and it's going to want to connect to our Wi-Fi network. It looks like it's also prompting me to download their SenseCraft app, which I have used for other Seed Studio devices, and it works quite well. Okay, it looks like we have it running and it's already beginning to detect people. That seems to be the out-of-the-box model. Okay, so let's see how to actually use this thing. So once you have your watcher, your device set up in the application, it creates a chat dialog, which is pretty helpful for receiving messages around what's going on. Now it comes with a bunch of task templates, and I'll use some of those, but then I'm going to want to venture off into custom behaviors. So let's start super basic. If a person is detected, notify me through the app. And it looks like it downloads the necessary models. These are probably kind of the edge quantized lightweight versions of these models.
Hi, I'm Watcher, an AI bot.
And there it goes, and it seems to be working on the first try, so that's pretty good. All right, let's have it address me more specifically.
Hi, Data Slayer.
Okay, and I like how it also sends me a message in the chat, so if I'm like remote and off-site, I can still have a sense for what's going on, which is kind of cool. All right, let's try one of the other models here. So let's try gesture detection. So it looks like it's set up to detect rocks, paper, scissors. Very quintessential American game. So let's go ahead and set up some conditions here and say that if it detects rock, it's going to announce that rock was detected. So now it's downloading the model. All right. So let's give it some gestures. It looks like it's able to detect the different gestures. It's having a little bit of trouble with paper, but it is able to detect these gestures, which is pretty impressive. But what if we wanted to do something custom for either our business or our at-home use case? So this is where I think they made a really good move by allowing you to create a bespoke command based on a generic computer vision LLM such as Lava. So now we can just kind of type something in here and the LLM will do our bidding. So I'm going to say if it detects a person smiling, then go ahead and announce something.
You seem happy.
Okay, that seems to work. Let's do something a little bit more nuanced. Let's say if you see a Raspberry Pi, then alert me and say that's a nice Raspberry Pi. All right, and then I'm gonna grab my Raspberry Pi and put it in front of the camera and see what we get.
That is a nice Raspberry Pi.
So that immediately worked, which is super impressive because it tests a couple different things. It tests the large language model's ability to recognize very specific things, such as single board computers. And then I went on to test a bunch of other things like Starbucks cold brew, and it really worked pretty effortlessly. I even had it correct my posture. So the vision model works perfectly well. I could totally envision setting this up for a small business. It could be like a waiter or a concierge or something like that. There's a lot that you could do with this. But let's talk about the auditory voice-enabled commands. So I'm going to ask it a couple questions and see what it fires back with. What is the capital and motto of the state of Florida?
The capital of Florida is Tallahassee, and the state motto is In God We Trust. Florida is known for its beautiful beaches, diverse wildlife, and vibrant culture. Do you have any other questions about Florida or anything else you'd like to chat about?
What's the current stock price of Lucid Motors?
I'm sorry, I can't provide real-time stock prices. However, you can easily find the current stock price of Lucid Motors by checking financial news websites or using the stock market app. If you have any other questions or need assistance with something else, feel free to ask.
So it looks like it can't do real-time stuff yet, but it is giving me really good answers to different things. I posed some queries about Florida and it gave me all the correct information. And then I posed some more esoteric questions and it handled those like a champ. What's a positive and constructive way to deal with disappointments in life?
Deal disappointments in life can be challenging, but there are positive and constructive ways to approach them. One approach is to allow yourself to feel the disappointment fully. It's okay to acknowledge and process your emotions rather than suppressing them. Once you've done that, try to reframe the situation and look for the silver lining. Sometimes disappointments can lead to new opportunities or a change in direction that ultimately benefits you. It's also helpful to focus on what you can control and take proactive steps to improve the situation. This might involve setting new goals, seeking support from friends or family, or learning from the experience to grow and develop resilience. Finally, practicing self-care and engaging in activities that bring you joy can help lift your spirits and provide a sense of balance during challenging times. Remember, it's okay to feel disappointed, but it's also important to find healthy ways to move forward and grow from the experience.
Yeah, humans are cooked. So for $99, I am thoroughly impressed and I'm super eager to see how this space evolves. Will this sort of tech replace knowledge workers today? I'm not so sure, but based on that last question, it's probably ready to replace my therapist. If you want to learn more about indie tech movements that are making some waves, then check out this next video. Thanks.